First of all, it's not really right to refer to it as dashing money, right? You are not dashing producers money. You are paying them for a service. Dashing would suggest that it's a gift that you're giving them, but it's not a gift. You are paying them for a service. You pay them and they give you a finished song. That is what it is. So please, it's important to not see it that way. And secondly, right, this advice might be great advice and all, but we also need to understand that there are a lot of artists that cannot even afford to do this. Like, there are so many that can't afford to do this. And some people that have been able to get equipment don't even know how to use it. Right? I've seen a tweet from an artist that said that he has like mics and sound cards and everything in his house, but he doesn't even know how to use it. So he has to find a way of paying somebody to teach him because he doesn't know how to use YouTube to learn. Right? So what I would always advise is that as an artist, if you are somebody that is really interested in gaining that skill as a producer, instead of rushing to buy equipment, I would suggest that you start your learning process with BandLab. Right? I would suggest that you start with like learning how to mix and master first, like learning the ins and outs of BandLab, especially if you don't really know how a digital audio workstation works. That's what a DAW is, right? Yes, especially if you don't know how it works, right? So I would suggest that you go with BandLab first, get really familiar with BandLab before you start to invest in getting equipment. Because the truth is that if you do that, okay, I want to have my home studio, and you get your equipment and all of that, if you don't know how to use it, you will be so confused. If you don't know how to use FL Studio or Logic or any of these Pro Tools or any of these DAWs, right? You will be very confused and you find yourself just becoming weak altogether. And you will have equipment in your house, but you will still go and pay a producer. So I would suggest that if you have that interest in learning how to produce or in learning the ins and outs of production, I would suggest that you just start with BandLab, right? Once you are okay with BandLab to an extent, you can now start to think of investing in that. I feel like that's the best kind of advice. Right? Having a home studio is great and all, but you need to have it with sense. You don't just rush and go into it, right? You need to be sure that certain boxes are checked first.